Hello, health champions. Today, I want to talk about the top foods to eat if you want to not just lose weight, but lose the weight forever and keep it off. Come on right up. Hey, I'm Dr. Rasan. I'm a holistic doctor and a former Olympic decathlete. If you want to truly master health by understanding how the body really works, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. What is the best way to lose weight? Wouldn't that just be to eat nothing or to eat things that are the lowest in calories, like lettuce and rice cakes? Sure, that would get you some initial results. But how long can you keep it up? Would the body start adapting and gain it back? You might keep it up for 3 days or 2 weeks, or if you have really strong willpower, then you might keep it up for 3 months and suffer all the way through. But how many people could keep it up for 5 years or 10 years, or the rest of your life? No one can do that. So if you get on a diet that you can't maintain forever, then you will eventually gain the weight back. What we're really looking for is a lifestyle. We're not looking for a diet, we're looking for a way of life that we can maintain. Let me ask you in another way. How many of you are overweight and want to be skinny next month, but then be fat again next year? Alright, I didn't think so, because nobody wants to lose the weight just to gain it back. But then why do we diet? Why do we do these things over and over, and why do we follow the recommendations of dieting? Eating less, moving more, restricting calories, going hungry when we know it won't work. What about calories? Do they matter in a physics sense? Yes, they do. You still have to burn more calories, more fuel than you take in. But in the physical body, in the human body, there are other factors. So, do you want to count calories? No, don't do it. In the body, there are things like metabolism, hunger, and satiety that are regulated and managed by hormones. These hormones tell your metabolism what to do. They tell your body how many calories to burn and how many to take in. So you can't affect the equation from here, you have to affect it from here. And these hormones are insulin, leptin, and growth hormone in particular. So the food that will ultimately help you lose weight forever is the food that will affect all of these variables in a positive direction. Let's take a look. These foods must reduce insulin, because long-term high insulin produces insulin resistance, and in the presence of high insulin levels, there is virtually no fat burning taking place. So as insulin resistance goes down, fat burning goes up. Another factor that depends on that is leptin resistance. When we're leptin resistant, the brain doesn't hear the message that we're full. The fat cells are getting fat. They're making leptin, saying we've had enough, but the brain isn't listening. So leptin has to go down in order to reduce appetite and lower the body's set point. So what is the set point? Every time that you yo-yo diet, you lose the weight and gain it back plus 2 pounds. You lose the weight, you gain it back plus 2 pounds. Every time the set point goes up by a couple of pounds, and the body thinks that's the normal weight. This has primarily to do with leptin resistance. However, that in turn depends on insulin. The second thing that must happen is that your food has to make you full. It has to increase satiety. So that once you're really full, you can go longer before the next meal, allowing for longer fasts. If you go longer between meals, that means in the end you're eating less, and it also increases hormones. The longer you fast, the longer you go without food and you're in fat-burning mode, the more the body will increase human growth hormone, which again is a fat-burning hormone. The problem with this recommended food pyramid is that it is the opposite of all of these criteria, and that is why this is a perfect recipe to gain weight. Let's jump right in. Number 10 is coconut cream. It is a staple in many Asian cuisines. It's great for smoothies and rich sauces. It's very low carb, very low protein, high in fat, and has a very low insulin response. It's quite filling and inexpensive. Another plus is that very few people have any kind of sensitivity to it, so it's safe for most people. Number 9 is cheese, sour cream, and crème fraîche. They're low in carbs and moderate to high in protein, so they have a higher insulin response than coconut cream. However, they are also more filling. One potential problem with dairy is allergies. A lot of people are sensitive to it. If you are, it can help to eat cheese rather than milk. And it can help to use fermented products like sour cream and crème fraîche instead of just regular milk. Number 8 is sardines in olive oil. And this includes other fatty fish as well. You could use mackerel or salmon. Any fatty fish is great, just don't get it in canola oil or soy oil. If it's packed in tomato sauce or something, that's fine too. It has 0 carbs, is moderate to high in protein, so it has a moderate insulin response, but it's very filling. As a bonus, it provides a ton of omega-3s, the anti-inflammatory essential fatty acids. Number 7 is butter, olive oil, and coconut oil. They have 0 carbs and 0 to trace protein. They're very high in fat, and therefore they have almost 0 insulin response. They are quite filling, but they're not really a meal in themselves. So obviously, you wouldn't take a bottle of olive oil and just start chugging it, but you can pour plenty on vegetables and other foods. Number 6 is macadamia nuts. They are my favorite because they just edge out pecans in terms of the numbers, but they're very close together. These are the 2 best nuts in terms of being low carb, low protein, very high fat, and they're also high in fiber. So they're filling in the sense that they create some bulk, and they have a very low insulin response. Just watch out. They're so tasty that it's possible to overeat. Number 5 is leafy greens and non-starchy vegetables. Even though this is basically pure carbohydrate, it is not a carbohydrate that will raise a lot of insulin. It's very low carb in the sense that the carbs you're absorbing are very low. It is low protein, very low fat, and high in fiber. So again, it provides some bulk and some substrate for your microbiome. It's high in minerals, and that might be the number 1 reason to eat and include a lot of leafy and non-starchy vegetables in your diet. Because there's so little fuel that you actually absorb, it has a low insulin response and is quite filling, especially if you combine it with some fat. So put some good olive oil dressing, rich sauces, or anything together with these vegetables. Number 4 is avocado, nature's perfect food. Very low carb, very low protein, moderate fat, and high fiber. Again, it is full of minerals and has a very low insulin response. Because of the high fat content, it is quite filling even though it doesn't have a lot of protein in it. Number 3 is eggs, especially the yolk. It's very, very satisfying. The egg white has the protein, while the egg yolk has all the other nutrients. It is very low carb, moderate to high in protein, and has a low to moderate insulin response. It's very filling. It's a complete food. You can certainly make a whole meal out of just eggs. Again, some people might have some sensitivity, so watch out for that. If they do, it is usually more against the egg white that they're reacting. Number 2 is chicken wings. They have 0 carbs, high protein, high fat, and a moderate insulin response. They are very filling and certainly a complete food. You can easily make a whole meal out of them. Just serve some vegetables on the side. The only thing to watch for is to try to get the best quality chicken. Get it organic and pastured if at all possible, because all of these meats and foods are only as healthy as whatever they have been fed. And number 1 on my list is grass-fed beef for several reasons. It has 0 carbs and moderate to high fat. A lot of people don't realize, they think when they eat a steak or some ground beef that they're eating mostly protein. They do have a lot of protein, but something that has 10% fat, let's say you're eating ground beef with 10% fat, that is actually 51% of the calories from fat. Even though beef has about 20% protein, the fat is more dense in terms of fuel. So very quickly, even in something lean like 10% ground beef, you're actually getting more than half of the calories from fat. If you eat 20% fat in the ground beef, then 70% of the calories are from fat, and only 30% from protein. Even though you get the impression that you're eating just protein and meat, it is high in protein. It has a moderate insulin response and is very filling. As a matter of fact, I don't know of any food that is more filling. If you just want to get really full for a long time, then I think steak and meat would be the way to go. A lot of carnivores are finding this out. If they combine carnivore with 1 meal a day, then there is no problem at all maintaining that one meal because it's so filling. It is a complete food, and it is virtually unheard of to be sensitive to it. Some people may have a little bit of trouble digesting it if they don't have enough hydrochloric acid. But you basically cannot be sensitive or have allergies. I mean, you could, but it's very rare. So it's one of the safest foods to eat. In addition, it is becoming more and more available. It's relatively easy to find good quality grass-fed beef these days. You can find it in Publix, Kroger, Walmart, and so on. So remember that it's not about losing weight. It's about losing weight and keeping it off. It's about allowing your body to return to balance, reducing insulin resistance, reducing leptin resistance, and allowing the set point to go down. Otherwise, you'll be fighting with weight for the rest of your life. This is the recipe to find balance, so you can stop fighting and start enjoying life and finding a balance between you and the food you eat. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to learn more about how the body works and how to get truly healthy, I think that you will really love that video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.